Hello everyone, welcome to my first screencast on learning to use CIDER for Emacs. I'm going to start off today creating our first project. I'm going to say line new hello. We're going to make a hello world project. You'll need to install Leiningen in order for this to work. So we'll wait for a second. Boom. We've got it done. We go into the directory. We see that we've got project.clj and some other files here. Now that this is up, we're going to jump into Emacs, and we want to open up, let's say, the project file in our directory. You can see that we have our dependencies and some placeholders for the rest of the information. And at this point, we want to bring up a REPL. We actually want to start a Clojure process and jack into it, so we have a running REPL inside of CIDER. And you can do that using Meta X, that's Alt X, and you can say CIDER jack in. If you hit enter, that'll work. Another way to do it is if you do Control C and then Meta J, and that'll also do it. You can, if you ever forget the hotkey, you can go up into the drop-down menu, and you will see plenty of options here. Let's see, where is jack in? Oh, actually, we can't jack in because right now we're currently already connecting. So, anyway, you can consult that if you ever get lost in the future. So, you can see in the bottom tab we now have the REPL running, and it gives us some tips on how to use the REPL. Notice the most important one, exit, Control C, Control Q. And again, they recommend to review the manual if you're a newbie, blah blah blah, a bunch of key bindings. So, right now, I just want to show you, if you've never used a REPL before, that this is an interactive prompt running, that evals your Clojure forms. So, a very simple way to see if this is working, we say, what's 1 plus 1? You see that's 2. If you were to say, hello world, what's the value of that? That's hello world. Pretty simple. Things get more interesting if you try and define a function in here. So, for example, define hello. Print line hello world. The value of this is, as you see, user hello. So this is the symbol representing our function. And if we say hello, we can see that's a function user hello. But if we run hello, then we'll print hello world, and the value returned is nil. So this is output on the standard out, and this is the return value from evaluating this form. So hope that wasn't too quick for you, but right now we're going to show you how you can edit your source code here on the left side. So I jumped into this file that we're given from the beginning called hello core, and I don't really want this form, so I can delete that guy. And something I want to show you is, let's say, because again, we can define functions here on the right side in the REPL, but I find that it's not as handy as defining a function like square here on the left side and then running it here on the right. So, a simple example, let's say that the square function gives you x times x. Then if we come over here and we try and say square of 5, then you'll notice, could not resolve symbol. So what's going on here is that, well, two things. First of all, we actually haven't evaluated this code on the left, so the REPL actually hasn't seen this function yet. So again, you can go into the drop down, you can say CIDER, and you go to eval. You can say you can eval the last S expression, you can eval a region, you can eval the whole buffer at a time. And I think this one is probably simplest if you're just learning. You say, you know what, load the whole, eval this whole buffer and load all this code into the REPL. Again, Control C, Control K if you want a shortcut, but I just wanted to be really explicit for beginners. So we're going to eval the buffer, boom, and yes, you need to save it first. And you'll see down here, this response says, okay, we've created a symbol called hello core square. So again, we try right now, square of 5. Oh, it still didn't work. What's the deal? Well, something that you need to know is that when you start the REPL, you're actually in this namespace called user. And over here on the left, you see that we're in hello.core as our namespace. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to either explicitly call the namespace from here, where you can say hello core square of 5. That will work. Another thing you can do is you can say in namespace hello.core, and that's a way of changing the namespace over. And now if we just say square of 5, that'll work. But something I want to teach you that you may not know about is that if we have, let's say, another namespace over here, and I'm not sure what I'll say, let's say pow, and we say pow of n to the p is, we'll just use java math.pow n to the p. So simple example, but in this case we have this core namespace and this tutorial namespace, and again we can Control-C, Control-K to eval this tutorial file, and we could of course say hello.tutorial pow 3 to the second, and we get the answer. But something that I want you to see is that if you hit the CIDER has a shortcut for changing namespaces. See this right here, Control-C meta n. That'll jump your REPL namespace to the current file. And so I find this very handy because now you can just say pow, 10 to the 10, and then when you're ready you can just jump over here, Control-C meta n, and now you're in core, and then you can say square of 5. And of course you can mix and match this. You can say things like square of 5 right here, and you can use again CIDER's eval last s expression, Control-X, Control-E, and that'll actually show you the value in line here in the buffer. Likewise, you can go over here and say pow of 10 to the 10, just hit Control-X, Control-E, and you can actually see the value in Emacs. So I'm going to stop the screencast here, but I hope you've learned the basics of jacking in, using your REPL, and evaluating code from the buffers, and also being able to eval one S expression at a time. So I hope you learned something, and thanks a lot.